favorite parts of Into the Abyss, and that is Thomas McDonough's Hammer of Truth, where Tom is going to review a video, and he's obviously not intending on slamming the video, but he will not spare any mercy. So, Tom, what does the Hammer of Truth fall on this edition?
The Hammer of Truth falls on the Golem, a 2018 production of an Israeli-American company. And as Kevin pointed out, it's not like I'm ripping on movies. In fact, I truly enjoyed the Golem. I'm going to come out right now and say I apologize if the pronunciation is different for others. Some may call it Golem, others call it Goyim. Now, before we begin anything, let me let the history teacher out on you guys. It's based on the old Jewish story, the myth of the Golem, a creature created out of clay, very crudely formed into a man, but without any noticing features, brought to light by a rabbi who writes mystical Hebrew words from the Kabbalah on a piece of parchment and puts it into the Golem's mouth. That brings the Golem to life, and the idea is it can do everything from work in the fields to babysit. Primary purpose, though, and this is based on the story of the Prague Golem, Prague being the capital of the Czech Republic, of protecting the Jewish ghetto from the Gentile population. Now, in the movie itself, let me give a few basics here. It centers around the married couple of Hannah and Benjamin, a couple that lives in a Jewish village in the 1600s in Lithuania, at least that's what the information we get, which was part of the Russian Empire at the time. Now, of course, a little bit background on these types of villages. You would have a Jewish village just populated by Jews, and then the Gentile village. It could be kind of part of the town, just separated, or completely opposite villages. Now, Hannah and Benjamin are a married couple, and it starts off with Hannah underneath the floorboards of the synagogue, listening in on the prayers, and the rabbi speaks to Benjamin, who happens to be his son, saying that your wife has not given you a child for 7 years. You have every right to cast her aside and look for a new wife to have children with. Benjamin refuses because he loves her so much. And I think a big part of the concept of the movie is you think that they are desperate for a child, and Hannah even goes to a healer by the name of Perla to get some type of solution that you think is to help her get pregnant. And it shows them being intimate, but this is also very Orthodox Christian, wearing clothes on the top and just doing the deed to have a child. There's a lot more to that story than that. It's not that they were married. There was something else going on. Anyways, Hannah is out in the woods one day with her sister, who's engaged to be married, and they come across the Gentiles burning bodies that have people who died from the Black Death. Now, this really starts off in terms of the horror if you've ever seen the Plague Doctor's outfit.
Okay,
Now,
yeah,
someone actually, Chuck, I think you brought that up in your Facebook post. If you
I may have ordered one because of the coronavirus scare. I might be shopping at Wegmans with a Plague Doctor outfit.
Not a bad idea, because the Plague Doctor uniform is extremely creepy and upsetting.
It's going to be fun.
And I'm sure Kevin's going to find a picture of one to put up here.
I will.
I'll have
Full body covering, a mask with goggles, and also it looks like a giant beak, so it looks like you're playing a Birdman. The purpose of the beak actually is to put either flowers or senses or something in there to cover the stench of death. So they come across these people in their Plague Doctor outfits burning bodies from the Gentile part of the village, and yeah, needless to say, the leader notices them. And down the road, where Hannah's sister is getting married, the Gentiles show up, and their leader, Victor, is carrying his teenage daughter who's affected by the Black Death. And he blames the Jewish community with it, saying, it's because of you, and I'm going to burn your village to the ground, I'm going to kill everybody. But Perla, Hannah's friend, says she can heal her. The whole thing is Hannah decides they need to resurrect a golem to protect their village, because they understand, and this is where the good history part gets in, of how Jewish villages and ghettos as well. The term ghetto actually came from the Jewish part of cities where they were forced to live, and of course they're not the best part. Always facing persecution from the Gentiles because, as I tell my students, Jews are the most persecuted religious group in the world. They're the minority. And in this case, Hannah decides against everyone's wishes to try to create a golem because she actually knows how to read. She reads the Torah, she reads all the holy books, and she creates a creature out of clay, puts in the mystical words on a parchment in its mouth.
Paper, yep.
Now, of course, the situation is when she wakes up the next day, because she passes out from the ceremony, the golem is not some large 7-foot-tall monster. It actually comes off as a young boy.
Oh,
Now, that actually plays a lot more into Hannah and Benjamin and their issue about having children.
Oh.
And now, in terms of the horror, not so much. I would give the horror part maybe a 2.5 to 3 in terms of that, but the story, I'm going to go out here right now for my hammers. This is a 4 out of 5 hammers.
Highest hammer yet.
It is. I usually don't give a 5 unless it is something that blows me away. And a lot of it is based on the story itself, and that's what I really like about it. The relationship between Hannah and Benjamin, and now this golem, which looks like a young 8-year-old boy, but it's really not. How the community reacts to it, how the Gentiles react to it as well. CGI is not very good. That's the rule for CGI in the first place.
Right.
But I really like this as a movie, as a story as well. I like the fact they went with a period piece. Again, this is what I hear from the website, 1600s Lithuania. Usually you would get some foolish thing, and here's where my hammer comes down. That's on the Hollywood studios, where they would either make it German occupation of Lithuania during World War II, or worse, let's have some college students going to Lithuania on their spring break. That makes no sense. I like the period piece. I do like the story. I like the fact they're using a tried and true ancient story for the horror, because it does work, and that's what Hollywood really needs to focus on, is the stories that work. What I didn't like is the fact is this movie did not get a lot of press, I guess the word for it is. Probably did well in Israel, but did not do well over here. It's a shame because the company that made it made the movie Jerusalem, which is a kind of a found footage, this time with Google Glasses, so it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
So I like going a little bit outside of that. So again, 2018, The Golem, very good movie. I didn't give it a 5 because, again, it has to be absolutely perfect at a 5, but it's still a good movie, still a good story. Get out there and see it. Great movie.
On Netflix.